Our remarketing strategy is post review. It's not, hey, at 10%, let's go remarket everybody. It's much more situational and trying to avoid a remarket.
We have to make it non-negotiable. Like all VIP A and most of our Bs have to be touched. The Cs and Ds, we're going to attempt to get to them. But if we have to have a sacrificial lamb, it's going to be the D.
All right, everybody. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm froggy. Like the whole eat the frog, I think I might have one in here.
Stuck. You need to have some more coffee and get it washed down.
Yeah. Well, like I called Andrew this morning. I didn't realize I couldn't talk. And I was like, and I was like, I might need a minute.
It's because we're spreading the word of hard market across the land far and wide. And our voices get a little tired from, 12 hours a day of preaching about what's happening in the marketplace and how we can conquer it and really provide amazing service to our clients, right?
So, Therese, I know you had a couple questions that came up from Hard Market Hero.
It did. One of the ones was they asked how you tier clients. So how do you go about tiering clients?
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple different ways. There's no perfect fit for every agency, right? So let's just start with the disclaimer, little star, like this may not work for you, but ... I think what we really need to do is identify our VIP clients. That's either the best clients we have, great referral partners, even if they only have one or two policies. We really have to identify who that top 10% is, the top client that if we lost, we would be devastated. And sometimes that's a leadership level decision for VIP because we want to make sure it's really only the highest level client or the best client we have. I think that we can go either into platinum, gold, silver, bronze, or A, B, C, DNR. Agencies like different things, but the A-level client is somebody with a package. It's somebody that has a rounded account or a fairly rounded account. It's higher premiums. In commercial, it can be our higher dollar amount policy. And they might be monoline, but it's a high premium in commercial. Then B would be our 2Vs or the smaller packages in commercial, the mid-grade premium. They've got maybe auto and home and personal lines or auto and boats, home and another line, but it's the 2s. Then the C client is somebody they're great. They have future potential. They're normally monoline, but a decent premium. The policies meet our agency standards. What? We should have standards and our staff understand. Yeah.
We're going to talk about that today.
I know. And then our DNR or D client, the bronze level client is somebody that really, the time sucks. They're the ones that really waste our time or do not meet the standards of the agency. It's that below minimum premium account or the monoline that doesn't really have a lot of potential, or somebody with a whole lot of claims or bad payment history. The client gets dishonest or that we just want off of our books. It's the clients we are not going to bend over backwards to accommodate, but we're still going to provide decent service to.
Well, and it's funny because somebody else commented that she knows everybody's going to hate her for this comment, but she wants more polls and more questions and more inclusion in the exercises in the Hard Market Hero series. Because it's a webinar, it is a little difficult to do that. You can do a lot of polls, but it's hard to actually get people talking. So that's something that, somebody mentioned, but we could definitely do more polls and see what kind of answers we get, more pop quizzes. Another question they had was, we need to clarify the difference between renewal reviews and remarketing strategy.
Yeah, I can take this one. So it's like the renewal happens before the remarket if it's like funnel, right? So we start by answering questions. Why did rates go up? Do a review. And then at the end of the review, if that was the right choice, it would be remarket the account based on what you find. But the goal would not be to remarket. So our remarketing strategy is post review. It's not, hey, at 10%, let's go remarket everybody. It's much more situational and trying to avoid a remarket.
Right. And there's also kind of, it's not really tiers, but it's a structured process where the agency determines which clients can actually be remarketed. So that's the remarket strategy. It starts out with you guys determining which clients can be remarketed and then going into the process of how you're going to remarket it, which carriers you want to place them with, because we all know that commissions are different with different carriers. If there's a certain carrier that you're trying to build business with, it could be remarketed to those carriers. So there is a strategy. So renewal reviews is kind of its own section, and it's always what you want to do first. You always want to say review first. You never want to use remarket, rewrite, requote. Those words really, clients shouldn't even really know those words. They should be words that we use as insurance lingo. We should know those words. If you have clients calling in and saying, hey, I want a requote or a remarket, we're in trouble because they should.
How did they learn that?
Yeah, they should not even know that. As soon as the customer calls in, we don't know if they're upset or not. Remember, why did my rate go up? It's just a question. Once they ask that question, go right into a review and review things with them. Don't go right to price because we want to show them that value. So build that review, use that review sheet that walks you through everything. And then if there's nothing else you can do, then you go into the remarket. But you also have to mention the dangers of a remarket. That's another part of that strategy. Going through, hey, are you going to have an inspection? They may come out and see that your roof is 25 years old and they won't even write it. So we have to go through the dangers too, to make sure the client is aware what happens when you do actually remarket. There may be chances that you can't find coverage when you try to remarket them because of the hazards they have on their property.
Yeah, I think, our goal is find them what's best for the customer, not necessarily cheapest, but best company, not going to flag inspections, not going to make things harder for them. And that's an important, thing to think through.
Yeah, I don't really have any more. I think that was the major questions we have. Let me look back at
Well, Teresa's looking back too. So, we have our bonus sections next week, which is how to stop a cancellation. So if you didn't add that on, you can still do that. And also too, we will have fire in coastal zones, which we're in a fire zone, Stephen and I right now. So very well familiar with that strategy and that setup.
In the mountains with all the trees and dry grass.
Yes, crispy. Kindling is everywhere, right? So the other thing too is all of the recordings will be in there early next week. So you'll have every single session in there if you purchase the recordings to go after. So after next week, we go back to regular scheduled programming. We have thought about the idea of maybe doing a mini sales live session, how to sell in this market, because carriers are pulling out of raters and shutting down new business, but we still need to sell things. So I've been thinking maybe we should do something on that, but I haven't decided yet.
Well, and I talked to an agency the other day and they're talking about how now those companies are asking for more paperwork. And I said, well, we just need to start looking at our insurance agencies like the DMV. We're trained. When we go to the DMV, we take stacks of stuff to make sure that we have everything we need. And we're just going to have to start doing that at the insurance agencies. All right. So I found one that you answered the other day, Kelly. What do you do when your state average increase is 28 to 32% on auto and home right now? What should your agency standard be?
Yeah, I think that this is where it's really difficult to say, because I'm going to come at it from the customer. Customer's not expecting this. So if your average rate increase is 29%, this is the first year your customer is going through this hard market. I get really nervous when you just pick a number that's the average. If I pick 30, I'll just call people. But I don't know. My mom gets upset about an $8 rate increase. These numbers just feel very, very arbitrary. It's good to know the average. I would lean people more on taking what Steve was talking about with tiering your clients and selecting okay, we're going to call all the A's, all the B's, and if we can, we'll call the C's to do renewal reviews versus just a rate trigger. That's my thought on it.
And I was talking to an agency this morning, which it was great. They were like, hey, I know you want us to make 100% of the calls. We're really trying. So much is coming in the front door that we're having trouble, even keeping up. We're like the hamster wheel, right? Just go, 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 go. And I'm like, well, why don't we, we had talked about tiering clients at the beginning of the program and it was a no-go, but now should we look at that again? I'm like, well, what is tiering client? So I started talking through it and they're like, That's absolutely what I'm like. We have to make it non-negotiable. Like all VIP A and most of our Bs have to be touched. The Cs and Ds, we're going to attempt to get to them. But if we have to have a sacrificial lamb, it's going to be the D. Sorry, not sorry, right? Like we have to put our effort into that VIP and A where we know the long-term relationship is there. And they were like, that makes it so much easier to understand. I'm like, I'm not saying you don't get to make any calls though, right? You still have to make calls. And as long as all of your A's and most of your B's are done every day, I think we'll be okay till we can get to the point that we can call for.
I'm going to say a statement that all the agencies are going to freak out about. Guess what? The clients that walk in to make payments every month are not your top tier clients. They are your energy, your time vampires. Those are the ones that are coming in to just steal your time and waste it. And some of us, some agents appreciate that and use that to waste their time. Newsflash, you're wasting time, and we hate that we have to make you admit it, but there's some things that it's just easier, like to do a renewal review sheet and make the prep last 30 minutes. Same thing.
No, nobody ever makes the renewal review sheet called prep last 30 minutes so they can't make calls, Stephen.
Never. No. Mm-mm. We find the things that we think that look glamorous to waste our time with so that we can't get to the tasks that need to happen. And again, I think I want to go back to the agency standards. And I think in this market, we have to clarify for our team. If you're on the leadership, please listen. We have to clarify what our expectation is for minimum standards to the agency. We have to set guidelines for what will and won't be remarketed or what limits we won't accept as a remarket. And we really have to support our team and make it clear where they need to be spending their time, because there's a lot of unclarity right now. And I think our team wants to do well, but they don't know what the expectation is. So when they're spending 7 hours on a PC-10 log cabin in a high fire district with no hydrant, with a trampoline and a lake that has a jet ski tied to the dock that they rent on Airbnb by the hour.
It's detailed.
I saw an ad for an Airbnb rental today on Facebook. It wasn't Airbnb, but something similar. And you could rent their jet ski and the dock of their lake by the hour. But I was like, how sketch is this? And does their insurance agent know about it?
Well, even if where we were for your agency 2.0 for Solomon,
yeah,
that was an Airbnb. And I was like, there's a swimming pool and a grotto. Like, this is a death trap.
Yeah.
I don't even know how it's getting insured.
So we want to make sure that we're spending our time where we need to spend it. And we need to spend it with more of the preferred risk for the agency.
I would just like to mention the difference. There is an agency standard, which is like your limit that you're going to require everyone have, not state minimums and that kind of thing, your limits, your deductible, those kind of things. Then there's also the remarketing strategy, which is telling you which policies you can remarket. And then there's the renewal review sheet, which is the sheet that you use to actually do your renewal review. So I just wanted, because there's those concepts in there. And I know some people are like, what is all this stuff? And what's the difference? So,
All the things. I think too, we get stuck on, well, everybody wants this. Everybody only wants this. Everybody only wants this. And I think that's a no. Like every agency is a little bit different. And you just have to define what your agency is and the standards for your agency, because we're not all cookie cutter. That's why we're independent. That's why we do what we do. And if you're completely non-standard auto, that's great, but you still need to have some sort of standards in place. If you're only high value home, that's great. You still need to have standards in place. We have to figure out what we're good at, and that's what we need to focus on in this market.
Yeah, there's what your carriers will take, and there's what your agency will accept, and they're two different things. And I think too, we just have to remember, remarketing is now just even this week going to take a lot longer with a lot of these carriers. Like Nationwide was first, more following. So we have to then really think about it. If all these personal lines companies are starting to pull out of the radar, remarketing is not an easy scenario. We should almost be giving our team where we want them to place business too.
Well, and I think we need to make it very clear to our customers that the reason why the carriers are making these adjustments and requiring this stuff is because they're making people qualified to try to keep the rates lower. And somebody who has, a wrecked car they're not going to want to take pictures of their car. And I know it's inconvenient, but if you don't have a wrecked car, your car's fine, take pictures of it. It's just to make sure that those people who are scamming insurance companies that have wrecked cars when they put them on the policy are able to do that anymore.
Yeah, it's going to help the good people and it's going to hurt the people who have some gray areas of their policies.
For sure.
All right, everybody. Well, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much. This will be a podcast tomorrow. And then we start going back to our normal scheduled programming, guys. So we will see you all soon.
Bye, guys.